evening. Happy Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Good to see everybody. Everybody is in the green room right now. We have a special guest for you tonight. Very, very, very special guest. Joe Tilley is in the house. Where's the music? Where's the music? So we have Joe Tilley with us. Joe Tilley with us tonight. You guys, everybody knows who Joe Tilley is. CTV News. 33 years at CTV News. And he retired back in 2017. And you can see him around town doing the Tilly Billy show. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about his career. We're going to be talking about his boxing success. Yeah, that's right. Just in case things get tough tonight, I got my gloves ready in case Joe wants to put me to the test. Hopefully I can still take a punch. So we're going to get into that. But first, let's get to the news. What's going on in the news tonight? Well, this week, Guns N' Roses, they're selling their new T-shirt. Live and Let Die with COVID-45. That's right. Well, Axl's having a go at Donald Trump. But not only is he having a go at Donald Trump, he's also having a go at the Secretary Treasurer down in the U.S. They got into
What's going on in the news tonight?
Steve Minnick.
Was that me playing back? That was Mark. Mark's messing with it. This show is live, folks. This show is
blame
live.
Me. Always blame me.
So they got into a big kerfuffle on Twitter. Munchin decided that he would get into an argument with Axl Rose, and then what happened was, in retaliation, the Secretary Treasurer decided to put up the flag of the United States, but unfortunately that wasn't the flag of the United States. He quickly made a quick adjustment and put up the right flag. What a big mistake. This is a Liberian flag, placed out of Africa. Obviously you can see how you could do a fast little post off of social media and make that mistake. But there was a bit of a kerfuffle because when Trump was touring a mask factory, the people in the warehouse were playing Live and Let Die in the background, which caused some disturbance. But at the time, Trump was not wearing a mask. But since then, Trump has been taking all kinds of precautions, and he is now wearing a mask. The United States will be much safer. And if you find this picture puzzling, there's some other news out there. I guess the folks at Catch Up have got really bored with the COVID lockdown and decided to create a Catch Up puzzle, 570 pieces. And the interesting thing about the puzzle is it's all red. So if you're looking for something fun and boring to do over the COVID holidays, grab yourself a puzzle. If puzzles aren't your thing...
Crazy.
It is very crazy. If puzzles aren't your thing, there's some things you can join on Facebook. You can join a Facebook Ant Colony role-playing group. Believe it or not, there's over 1.8 million members right now. And let's take a little look at this. Members act like ants. They follow commands, they worship the queen, and they type in commands like bite, follow, and whatnot. It's absolutely crazy. Crazy.
Pick up.
Now, if you're into short little things, the world's shortest man has regained his crown after the previous record holder from Guinness has died. Now, it looks like they're celebrating here. The shortest man in the world has passed away, so the second shortest man now becomes the shortest man. Did I say that right? I might have said tall in there. But absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Since we'll be discussing sports tonight, we thought we'd find a sports story. So I hunted high and low for something to do with sports. I needed to get some sports news, and I did. Believe it or not, in Taiwan, they are putting mannequin cardboard cutouts at the baseball stadium. Fantastic idea. We need to do this in Toronto. So you can actually have one of these made up, have it put in the stands while they play baseball in Taiwan. Can you believe it?
Play ball!
Play ball. And if that's not your art, Well, there's other art going on in Toronto. You can actually get in your van and go to the Vincent van Gogh exhibition in Toronto. That's right. They were going to have this exhibition, but it was going to be inside and people would be, close to each other. So they decided that they would set it up in a large area so people can drive their cars through to see the art. I don't know. I don't know. We got one more for you here. Speaking of drive-thrus, a strip club is offering drive-thru service for their food pickups. You can actually, while you're driving through to get your food, you can check out some strippers in the window as you're going through. It looks like this picture here. You can actually through the picture, you can actually tip the girl. Fantastic. Honey, I'm going out for some burgers. I'll be right back. And what I found really interesting about this, when I looked through the articles, the exhibitor, the co-producer of the exhibitor, Silvana, which sounds actually like a stripper name, said that we just had to pivot. And the stripper, Ellie Stranger, she said she's been lucky that she could pivot. The word pivot was used in both articles. I found it absolutely fantastic. But for the kids, the zoo in Toronto is going to be opening up and you'll be able to drive your car through the zoo. I thought walking through the zoo was awful. I can only imagine driving through the zoo.
Sitting in traffic now in your car at the zoo.
Honestly, these people are working way too hard. I was in Home Depot this morning at 7 o'clock. If you want to do something entertaining, go to Home Depot at 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow and just watch the chaos, folks. There's people walking all around each other. They're within 6 feet. There's no masks on, no gloves. It's just a joke. And that is the news. Actually, it's not the news. There is one more. And I screwed up the best part of the news because I found a Van Gogh painting that tied in with the stripper story. Van Gogh has a painting called Crabs on Its Back. I didn't want to pass that up, so there's my error. But yeah, Van Gogh. So I wonder if that's going to pop up on the great Van Gogh. But anyways, we're going to bring everybody in, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's here. We need more. And that's the news. Joe Tilley, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Burschapper, Tim Hay. The C-section.
The C-section.
The C-section.
Got my helmet on tonight. I'm ready to go.
So the show came up with a slogan. I don't know if you heard it, Joe, but Wendell Clark in the 80s had be nice, clear your ice. We've come up with be sweet, keep 6 feet. So that's so we're gonna get the shirt. We're gonna get the shirts done up. Be sweet, keep 6 feet. That's what we got going on. So, anyways, welcome, Joe. Thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for stepping into your you're probably in the guest room. Are you? Are you in the guest room?
Am I in the guest room or I'm out of the guest room?
I'm trying to guess what room you're in by your light. Looks like
I'm out of the guest room into the. Where am I? In the house?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in my bed.
He's in the bedroom. So we're in Joe. We're all in Joe's bedroom tonight.
All right. So,
fantastic.
So if he does get bored and falls asleep, he's good. He's good.
So we're gonna dive into this whole show is for Joe. After this, we're gonna do This Week in Music. Mark, why don't we get started? But before we do that, before we do that,
This Week in Music.
Music. All right.
All right. That's Mark Burschapper's son. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got the whole family involved in this.
Okay, we got a lot going on this past week in music history. Let's start it off with, on May 13th in 2007, Queen guitarist Brian May was put under 24-hour security watch after a man announced he was going to London to murder him. Then the man disappeared. Police were hunting for a deranged man, obviously, who left a letter behind at his home blaming the Queen guitarist for his illnesses. In it, the man said that Brian May was an imposter and that he was the actual rock star, and he signed the letter Brian May. To this day, nobody knows where this man is.
They didn't catch him?
That is a strange, strange story. Nope. I
Did they write a song about it called Bohemian Rhapsody?
They should. Yeah, they should. On May 14th in 1957, Elvis Presley was rushed to a Los Angeles hospital after inhaling a porcelain cap from one of his teeth. It lodged itself in one of his lungs, believe it or not. But they got it out, and he was released the next day.
Good old Elvis.
Let's see. Oh, this is kind of sad. It has a humorous side, but it's kind of sad. On May 14th, 1976, 33-year-old Keith Relf, the former lead singer of the Yardbirds, was electrocuted while tuning his guitar in his basement because it wasn't properly grounded. I have actually done that myself many times. I have electrocuted myself. I did not die, though, obviously. What's sad is that his 8-year-old son found him in the basement with his guitar still plugged in. Yeah, really sad. And let's see, May 14th, 2015.
Where's the happy part of that? Where's the happy part? I'm waiting for the happy part. You said there was a happy part. Did I? Oh, the kid! The kid got a guitar. The kid. Oh, that's not funny. But the kid got the guitar.
Well, sure. Yeah, the kid has the guitar now as a memento, I guess.
Wanted it too.
Let's see here. May 14th, 2015. Blues singer, songwriter, and guitarist B.B. King died in his sleep at 89.
Wow.
He, from complications from type 2 diabetes. He was widely regarded as one of the most influential blues guitarists of all time. Let's see here. On May 16th, 1966, the Beach Boys released the classic album Pet Sounds, widely ranked as one of the most influential records ever released, and ranked as number 1 in several magazines and all-time polls. Pet Sounds. Anybody have Pet Sounds?
Yes.
You do? Okay. I do not actually have a copy.
That album inspired Sgt. Pepper's. The Beatles heard Pet Sounds and they said, we're going to do this, and they did Sgt. Pepper's.
Oh, okay. On May 16th in 1969, Pete Townshend from The Who. He spent the night in jail for assaulting a man who jumped on stage during a gig that The Who was doing at the Fillmore East in New York. What Townshend didn't know is that the man was a plainclothes police officer trying to warn the audience that a fire had broken out. So Pete Townshend assaulted him, and he was later fined $30 for the offense.
And they wrote, "We won't get fooled again."
We won't get fooled again. That's right. On May 16th in 1998, this is somewhat of a continuation of our Keith Richards saga. The Rolling Stones guitarist fell in his home in Connecticut and broke 3 ribs while he was reaching for a book of nude art, believe it or not. And the injury caused the Stones to postpone many dates on their Bridges to Babylon tour. Never ends with that guy,
I think that's in his book.
Yeah. Okay, May 18th, 1985. The number 1 single in the U.S. and Canada was Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds, written by Keith Forsey and John Schiff for the 1985 movie The Breakfast Club, as we all know. The song was originally turned down by the Simple Minds. They weren't interested in playing somebody else's music at all. And so the song was offered to Brian Ferry, Billy Idol. They both declined the song. Corey Hart was even brought up at the time, but the writers, they felt that he wasn't the right choice for it. So the record company of Simple Minds and the singer's wife, Chrissie Hynde at the time, they persuaded them to go ahead and record the song. And it's a good thing because, very smart move. And that brought them into mainstream in the U.S. Let's see here. Oh, boy, we have another one. May 19th, 1976. Keith Richards.
He's on the show every week.
Every week we have something.
We got to get him on.
He crashed his car near Buckinghamshire in England after falling asleep at the wheel. Police found marijuana and cocaine. And yet another fine for the guitarist.
No jail.
It's no jail time. No jail time. And let's see. Lastly, on May 19th, 1988, James Brown was arrested for the 5th time in 12 months following a car chase near his home. He was charged with assault, resisting arrest, and possession of illegal weapons, and it was sentenced to 6 years in jail.
If he'd had
Good
Keith,
for James
if he'd have
Brown.
been hanging out with Keith Richards, he wouldn't have gone to jail.
Put those two together and see what would happen there. And that's about it. Oh no, we got one more here actually that I didn't read. On May 15th in 1981, former Sex Pistol John Lydon's band Public Image Limited played a show at the New York Ritz Club, and this has now been labeled as the famous Riot Show because the band performed behind a huge video screen for whatever reason, and the crowd started to get anxious, irate, and John started shouting the show was over, and the band left the stage after only a few songs. And then the crowd proceeded to riot into the night. No idea why, but that's another one of Public Image's wonderful...
Good old punk rock. So we...
You got it.
In 81, you're surprised by that? I don't know.
I don't know.
No, not at all.
I
So we
not really, but-
gotta ask Joe the big question. So Joe,
the big question.
who would win in a fight between Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth?
David Lee Roth.
Now,
Without hesitation.
the only thing we did point out was if they had to fight now,
Oh.
as opposed
Oh,
to back
now.
in the 70s, 80s when David Lee Roth. Well, that was the stipulation all
Oh,
along.
okay.
Now, like if they were to
Because
meet
David
right
Lee Roth
now,
was into martial arts, he did the whole.
I mean, look at the way he jumped on the stage, right? He was all over the place. He could kick like
Oh,
he
yeah.
could do the drop kicks and like those jumping kicks. And yeah, David Lee Roth was a pretty good athlete back in the day. I don't know what he's like now, but
I think he's rough now, and I think that's the thing. But yeah, I think we got to go with what they were like in the past.
on the undercard of Tyson Holyfield 3, I mean,
They could, yeah,
Well-
exactly.
Well, what about Tyson and Briggs? What are your thoughts on that, Joe? With Tyson and Shannon, talking about fighting it up.
I thought it was Holyfield. They were gonna
Yeah, I
fight.
thought it was
No,
Holyfield.
No, it's apparently it's confirmed with Shannon Briggs.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't bet against Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson in shape, and it appears that he is in shape.
Hmm.
Honestly, if there's anybody who would have beat him other than maybe Lennox Lewis at the time.
Yeah.
The only guy who I can see in his prime beating Tyson is probably Lennox Lewis. What I mean by that is when Tyson's right, because when he fought Buster Douglas, he wasn't right. When he fought Holyfield, he wasn't right. He wasn't right mentally, emotionally, everything else. He was, coked up, drunk. I mean, he just wasn't. He was in terrible shape, and I don't know. I think that a fit Mike Tyson, and he appears to be as fit now as he has been in most
He's
of
he's just a machine. He looks incredible.
I mean, he's got those guys wearing the body pads and
Just killing them.
mitts, and he's just killing it. Yeah, I mean, he looks good. He looks really strong, and he's scary. He's always been scary.
Now I haven't seen any of. Yeah.
I guess the big.
Now, I haven't seen any of Briggs' training videos. He looks like he's in pretty decent shape, but I don't know. I know that Dana White said for the past little while that he's like, Mike, just don't fight. Like he'll even pay him not to fight.
Well, why?
I'm not sure. He's such a huge fan of him. I guess he doesn't think that it's just in his best interest to kind of go this route. I don't know.
Oh, but he can do whatever he wants.
Guy's 53 years old. You think, but he's not an ordinary 53-year-old. You're talking about a guy who's never let himself get out of shape, really, except when he's fighting. But for the past 10 years or so, Mike Tyson has pretty much had his act together. He was. Yeah, I wouldn't pick anybody against Tyson, honestly. Like, there's probably a lot of fighters out there, young up-and-coming heavyweights who wouldn't be able to handle Tyson.
No.
But I guess the big question is he on any, is he taking steroids or is he taking hormones and stuff like that? So the question is, he's 52. Is he, filling his body with just some hormones, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, who knows, right? Only those who are really close to him would know for sure. But I guess I would say probably not.
Yeah. I
would think he's just a strong guy in really great shape, and he's just got a piece of him that's missing, that that being in the ring, and he wants to get it back, and he's I'm surprised that he hasn't lined things up at the Holyfield. Maybe he decided he'd have the Briggs fight first and then say, "Come on, let's do this," because I mean, that's the fight he wants. Let's face it, that's the one that he wants to avenge.
Right. But from what some of the articles I read, that Holyfield only would do it as if there wasn't, the intent to knock out. Now I don't know whether or not that's true, but there were some reports that he just wanted it to be more of a
for fun.
Not for exactly. Definitely not going out to knock the guy out in the first, third round.
I would think that would be really hard for a guy like Tyson.
Yeah, I don't. He just goes at you. He's like a little pit bull that locks on you. And
I'm in the ring. What do I do?
Yeah, yeah.
I can't do the exhibition thing. He probably had trouble making the movies. What the hell what the movies he was in with the guys? When he had the tiger and what are the movies that we did?
The Hangover movies.
Yeah.
Movies, right.
Yeah.
Probably had have a hard time containing himself for the Hangover movies. So I mean,
yeah.
I would like to see him. I'd like to see him fight Holyfield. I'd like to see that fight, and I'd like to, if he fights Briggs, great.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's giving Holyfield some time too to kick it up a notch.
You're
possibly.
saying they agreed to this then?
Sorry,
they signed this fight.
I don't know if it's signed. That's what it's been over the past day or so. That it's apparently a done deal.
I haven't been paying attention, but the last I heard, we had this idea that he was going to fight
Holyfield. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
I haven't.
Time will tell, I guess.
I can't even find anything on it.
I guess.
The main event.
I think Tyson should fight
12 hours ago.
I think Tyson
12 hours ago?
Maybe Sylvester Stallone would come back.
It's time for Rocky 38.
Did you watch the
apparently Tyson appears to have his comeback opponent finalized as Shannon Briggs announced the pair has agreed to terms to a shock fight.
Oh, so they call it a shock fight. Okay, yeah.
Fight?
Shock fight.
Shock fight.
Shock and awe.
Whatever that.
I guess it's
I
kind
guess
of
that
like
just means the age. I'm not sure, as opposed to Holyfield, like you said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, like you said, Briggs was a pretty good fighter in his day, really good amateur, and he was, but and he's a lot bigger than Tyson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's he? 6 years younger?
Is Briggs younger? Yeah, because the Holyfield's
so. Yes.
Holyfield
was 57, I think.
Yeah, he was older. Yeah.
Tyson's
sure.
53.
Yeah, Holyfield's 57, I think.
June, isn't he? No, sorry. When's his birthday?
Oh, Mark's getting ready.
He's getting ready.
He'll be 54. 30.
All right. Mark's in the ring.
I'll just stay behind this mic. I've been watching.
Yeah,
I like the good heavyweight fights though. With the Gypsy King.
Yeah.
And, that last fight was awesome. That last fight was amazing.
Deontay, that was a brilliant fight. That was a lot of fun.
He was so composed in that fight. Just
Briggs is only 48.
that was like what was that? 58?
58?
Sorry, 48.
48. Yeah. Okay.
I remember
48, 49 in December.
Okay. So he's a little younger.
as a
But he's
kid.
had a lot of fights. 67 fights.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's gonna create such a buzz. That's gonna create such a buzz. And I mean, he doesn't need the money, and if he goes in and if they set it up right, it'll be crazy. Now, hopefully they can have an audience for it. Otherwise, it'll be in a quiet ring.
Tyson fight at any age, really. I'm pretty sure. I would. I'd pay to see him fight.
He's
a machine.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see just by watching what he's been doing and in terms of training. I think a lot of people wouldn't wonder if he can take that into the ring. But I don't think I think his last fight was like, I want to say like 2004, 2005.
2005, something like that. Yeah.
And because Briggs has been fighting up until 2016, so just 4 years ago.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if he needs money, not that Tyson needs money. He's got his marijuana ranch. He doesn't really need the cash.
Well, actually, it's not about the money.
It's yeah. But the thing is, if he wins, then it leads to more.
Stallone just showed up.
So what do you think? What's going to happen? What's going to happen with the NHL with this? Do you guys really think that they're going to put some small groups of teams together in small rinks, or not small rinks, but in cities? And
well, what are they talking about? We're talking about putting almost like 24 teams into like a playoff kind of format, or
any team that has ended as right now is what I read is that if they have a 500 record, they're in the playoffs, and they're doing a 24 team. However they're going to do it, they were talking about having, best out of 3 for a couple of rounds, and however they're going to do it. Problem is right now is getting the players over the border.
Yeah,
I mean, right? I mean, not only between Canada and the U.S., all the European players that they went home. I mean, most of them, right? So we got to get them back over here, and then obviously the teams need to get back into game shape as well. I mean, you can't just jump into, playing these playoff games.
So what are they talking about? Like a 3-week window to give these if they move forward?
I don't know. I haven't heard.
Well, they could travel the border because they could call it essential. They could call it an essential job.
Yeah,
it's entertainment. You belong to a team. It's the NHL. I mean, people can travel across. It's just that you can't get in your car right now and drive to Buffalo.
Right.
But if you had to go for if you were driving, groceries down there for a company, you definitely could. But I think it's a scramble. Maybe give fans a bit of hope. And the players, what about these kids that are coming up that we're going to get,
drafted?
Well, that's it. Like, how is this going to affect the season coming up too? I mean, it's chaos, really. I mean, no one's really talking about it. Everybody's talking about everything else. Maybe it's my circle, but everyone's talking about music, bands, concerts, and everything like that. But I don't hear a lot of talk about sporting events. And it's just, I mean,
you can still play music, right? You've got guys who are playing music online. You've got guys, playing acoustic guitar. And, guys from like that online. So they're out there. You can't play hockey. You can't play hockey anywhere in right now at all.
No.
I mean, but I'm telling you, if they start playing, you'll be hearing about it. The things for that freaking golf tournament on the weekend between Rory McIlroy and PGA against Ricky Fowler and Wolf, that had big ratings, like big numbers. A lot of people watch that, and it's just an exhibition because they're dying for something to watch. So your average sports fan, they watch it. It would be good for the NHL because they would get that little niche if they can get off the ground before, say, the NBA does or something like that, and they've got their little niche. The only pro sports team in a playoff position or in playoff format at that time, I would think that they would get like a lot of eyeballs on it, and it would be good for the game. I think for the growth of the game, it would be good for the game. So I think they're probably going to try to do everything they can to do it. See if they get a playoff. Say if they get a playoff running in September, just for it takes that long to get it going. But say the end of October, the end of August towards beginning of September, and if they're running up this 12-team play or 24-team playoff, 12 teams in each conference, and they, able to have best of 3 series or whatever it is, and they wrap it up, say the end of October. They take a month off or month and a half off, and then they start a season in, say, beginning of January. And then they condense a 60-game schedule from January, February, March, and April, and then pick up the playoffs again in, say, May or June. and then sort of do a catch up like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could do it. I think they could do it. I mean, it would be, like the Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win.
Yeah.
You got to win 4 playoff series, 4 best-of-7 playoff series, and it's grueling, and it's really an incredible accomplishment. This might be seen as something that'll cheapen it a little bit, but I mean, these guys, they got a lot of overhead, a lot of bills to pay.
Definitely.
Be paid. They want to get a chance to,
Well, I can't see why they cannot play. If they were all get tested, they all test. Even if you isolate the players, you isolate the teams, they go into a hotel or whatever. I don't know if they're game for that, but if they want to play so bad, put them, isolate them, get them tested. I'm telling you, it's no different than going through Home Depot this morning. You might as well have been playing hockey in Home Depot today. It was everybody was just walking by each other. It was just crazy. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I was because I'm out working there. I was maybe not even less than 10% of people had masks on, and no one, even the staff, they're just walking right beside you now. No one gets out of the way. It's absolutely a joke. If you can't take these hockey players right now, these fit human beings, put them on a rink and let them play. I mean, they did it at UFC. Okay, 2 guys, the trainers are all there. They made it work. Why can't you stick these guys on the rink?
Well, good to go. September 10th. That's when they're opening their season. They plan on going ahead and playing. And you're talking about 60 guys on a team, and with all the reserves and everything.
Yeah,
You're talking about trainers. There's 10 officials on the field. There's going to be massive numbers of people, and that's just the players, coaches, and officials.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they do it, and the NFL is full steam ahead, September 10th is a season opener, Houston, Kansas City. If they can do that, then there's no reason to think that the NHL couldn't pull together some kind of a playoff scenario by the end of August.
Yeah, they probably got a healthier bunch. You look at some of those guys involved in the NFL down there. I mean, a lot of older folks, like especially some of the linesmen, some of the guys on the side. They're an older crowd, maybe. The referees are definitely younger in the NHL. A fitter.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
A lot of NFL older guys, because they don't have to. They have to run. They have to.
Yeah, up and down, holding the chain up, moving the chain. But yeah, there's a lot more people involved, and I think the big problem with the United States is the fact that the people aren't as healthy. That's what they're saying, right? There's more people with are at risk because of diabetes and all that, right? That's the real problem down there. And but I think up here, if you did it smart, I would love to see them throw some guys on the ice and play a game. I think it'd be fantastic. Empty arena?
Yeah, no, it'll be great. It'll be fun. And there'll be no fighting, because that's, obviously it's a fight, basically, face to face, punching each other, opening. Want to go, pretty boy? And I mean, not purposely, but it happens. I mean, pretty hard to have a fight without
maybe the game could change a little bit. They just change the game a little bit. Maybe there's less contact, maybe, but I don't know if that would happen. I don't think these guys. I mean, what do the players think? How do the players feel about being on the ice? Because
I'd say 99% want to play. 99% want to play, and they'll say, "Let's just play."
I agree with you.
Yeah, a few of them have spoken out and say they prefer to have some sort of a regular season first, just to but. But, we had Bob Bugner, coach of the Sharks, on yesterday's Tilley and Billy show, and he said that as far as he knows, it's just 24 teams, and his Sharks won't be in it. Because you talked about it, the teams are being 500 or better, but that's just how it works out. The top 12 teams in the East leaves you Montreal,
Chicago,
which is because they have no shot at the playoffs because they're currently. They didn't have 8 points out of a playoff spot, so they didn't. It was a good bonus for them to have a shot. But they would probably play. Maybe they would play maybe it would be like 12 versus 9, 11 versus 10 to eliminate a couple of teams, and then go into a playoff format or something after that, something like that. Sort of like a wild card situation where you play your way in, and then in the Western Conference, that would end at Arizona. and sorry, not Arizona, Chicago. Blackhawks would get in, but they would be the last team in the West that's 500 or better.
Right.
2 games.
And I think for viewing it at home too, like the UFC is different when that's when you're watching that. It's a different type of atmosphere. But I think with the NHL, and especially with the NFL, even the color commentating and everything like that, with all the sounds they've got going on today, all the noise from the I guess the show itself, the music and all that, you wouldn't even need the crowd.
No, you need Mark sound effects over there. So.
I'll do it.
Yeah, you're hired. You're hired. Actually,
I did read somewhere that one, I don't remember what network it was, but they were toying with the idea of having like a fake crowd noise going on in the background and fake cheering and whatnot as the games are going on. I don't really see the point. They did
it on TV comedy forever. TV shows.
Well, true. The laugh track, right?
Yeah.
So I guess they're going to have the sports cheering track now.
Maybe they could hire us.
Sure. Yeah, we'll be there.
That play pumping crowd noise because their crowds were so small. I'm not going to name names, but
so how often are you doing your the Tilley Billy show? How often are you going live with that?
So, we're live once a week on Monday afternoon at 1. And it's funny. We've last week, this week we had Bob Bugner, as I said, the coach of the Sharks, and Sherry Ford.
Yeah.
Remember Sherry, former SN broadcaster? She was at our place too at CTV. She worked, used to anchor the weekend sports. And then the week before that, I had all the CFTO sports guys: Lance, Zanil, Claude Fag, and we had a show with.
I think I caught that with that.
From the Leafs, former Leafs, Wendell Clark's been on the show. So we have a lot of fun. We, every week we got something different and unique, and it's a lot of fun. We have good times.
Now you were big into horse racing too, weren't you? Didn't you? Was there?
Well, I've had 2 horse racing shows too. So
yeah, horse racing shows and stuff. So So how long you been doing the Tilley Billy show? Because I've seen it on Facebook for quite a while. Was it going back to this fall?
I'm going to see maybe like about 16 months, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe I want to say maybe 15, maybe last January. A year ago, January.
Yeah, because you were actually going out to establishments and doing it right in the bar.
All right, we have there's a couple of bars that we were doing it at the Billiards Academy on Danforth Avenue. Is if we were still doing the show, we'd still be there.
Right.
Angelo, who owns Billiards, is a great guy, and he loves having us there, and so it's a good spot to shoot the breeze. They got good wings, and so it's great. So so we like to do the show from there when we can, but obviously now it's the physical distancing. We can't do that. But the Zoom show is fun. It's great having all the guys on and different places. And
yeah, I just think it gives a little bit of diversity too. It gives you time maybe to kind of mold your show differently. I mean, I know with us every week we're trying to add more and do it better. It gives you a chance to actually. Yeah, create the show. So every week you get a little bit better at it. You're at it. I think if you go out to, I guess it's the same thing as if you're in a club, but we were going to initially do this, Joe. We were going to do this in bars where we would have musical guests come on the show. We would do it like a talk show, like the Tonight Show, so to speak, but we shelved it. Yeah, it was going to be like a talk show fun, but you're cutting out. Are you there?
So what's today? I cut out?
No, you cut out, but I think because I was talking, it cut your voice. I don't know if that's a Skype thing.
No, it's a Mark thing.
It's a Mark thing. So, yeah, I guess everybody. But I'm surprised how people are hanging in waiting for sports. Like, I don't hear a lot of people. That's what amazes me. A lot of people, I guess, just sitting waiting for it to happen. I mean, what else can you do? There's nothing you can do. You can't even go play ball in the park. It's just, yeah.
No, weird. It's really weird. Although I'm going golfing on Friday.
Yeah, you can now, right?
Yeah.
Clubs are.
Yeah, courses are open. So
are they open? Are they open?
Crazy
They're open
busy.
right now. Then, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
So I can't show up any more than 20 minutes before my tee time, and I can go there. You can go to the driving range and hit balls for 10 minutes, and but you can't use a tee, so you can't lift the balls up and put them on the tee. You can use your club to pull the balls over and hit balls at the driving range.
Oh, right.
And only one person per cart, unless you live in the same household. But I walk anyway, so I don't care. So that's the way it works, and so
Crazy.
we'll see how you can't go in the clubhouse.
Right.
But is there still cart girls? Or are they doing anything, or is there nothing?
Won't be cart girls, but there'll be a halfway house which you can order. I think the way it works is you order, maybe you order ahead of time. They give you a number to call in if you want to order something, and then they'll just. But there's only pre-made food anyway, so it's like only have sandwiches or burgers.
Right.
But you have to maybe. I think you pre-order. Just maybe they have they give you a number to call when you're on the 8th hole and the move driving through, that type of thing.
You know,
okay.
speaking about golf, I'll tell you one of my my favorite sport stories. You could call it sport hero stories. When I was a kid, friends of ours, they had a membership at the Sleepy Hollow Golf and Country Club, and every year they had the NHL. I guess celebrity golf tournament there, or that was the year they were having it. So my friend's father, he said, "Do you guys want to come and caddy for the pros, the NHL players?" And I was a Montreal fan at the time, and I heard that Guy Lafleur was going to be there. So I was hoping that my name would go in and I would get picked to be Guy Lafleur's caddy. Well, I got David Keon. And I was actually a little pissed off that I got David Keon because I wanted to get more. Anyways, so it turns out that he also golfs at the same club. So my friend's dad knew David Keon too. So we go out, play. We didn't really caddy. We just sat in the cart with them, but it was a charity thing. So anyways, when it was all over, I guess David Keon's son was there as well. And at the time, he was about maybe 18, 19. And so my friend's dad got drunk, so he asked David Keon to drive us home. Well, David Keon lived in West Hill, where we lived in West Hill, so he said, "Sure, I'll drive the boys home." Well, I was sitting in the back seat behind his son, who was drunk, and then we just get on the road, we get moving, and his son winds down the window and throws up all down the side of the car. So here I was. I was in grade 7. And my first "you better not drink when you get older" lecture was from David Keon. And I drove home with puke all the way down the side of the station wagon. And
nice.
he had a wagon that had all the wood on the side too, just like my dad had. Like, here you were thinking you're in this professional hockey player's car, and he's got the same wagon your dad's got. Absolutely, yeah. The good old days, yeah, good old days. But
Dave Keon still works at still works for the NHL. He's at the you'll see him all the time at the Scotiabank Arena.
Really,
works in the.
Yeah, it was great back then in the day down at the Gardens. I used to love. My dad took me down there for the Flyers and the Leafs back in the mid-70s. It was
There's some battles.
Rod Street Bullies.
Eddie Shack in the penalty box with David Schultz. I mean, it was the greatest. It was people. I mean, it was so different then. It was you can't even explain it. And I think hockey. I lost touch with hockey when they went to more of a faster game. I guess being a Canadiens fan, a slower game was much better. A very defensive game. I mean, that's how the Canadiens played, right? Though they had great forwards, they would play to a 1-0 win. I mean, that's what they did. People say that they were the first
defense, right? So yeah,
that's right. You know,
there were some guys who could skate pretty good too. So they were a good checking team, though. They had like Lemieux and all those guys, guys who could really shut you down, and yeah. But even like earlier, Cornway, Belleville, all those guys.
Gainey.
Steve Shutt, yeah, they had great players.
Yeah.
They had the monopoly on those players, though. That was the difference back then, too. They did. They had the Quebec Minor Hockey League, and they got all the players. But I don't know if I ever told you the guys on the bottom of the story. Do you remember going to see any lacrosse games that they used to have at the Gardens? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I assume we're the same age here, but I used to go to lacrosse games. I would have been 10, and in the summer, the Toronto Tomahawks would play at the Gardens, and the Flyers, Bernie Perron, would play goal for the for the Philadelphia team to keep in shape. So he'd play lacrosse. So we would go down and see the Philadelphia team when they came to town, because at the time, the Broad Street Bullies, they were the team to see. And we used to take from Scarborough, from like Orton Park and Lawrence, we would take a taxi. My parents would give us money, and we'd get in a cab with 8 guys, 8 kids. We're 10. We would go to the Gardens in this cab and get out and go see a lacrosse game. And I remember my mom would say, whatever you do not leave those guys and do not leave your seat. So I was sitting there one day watching the game, and the whistle went, and one of the guys got pissed off. We were sitting about in the Reds. He took the ball, went like this, comes up, hits me right in the forehead, off my forehead, hits the rink, and bounces on the other side. The lacrosse ball right in the forehead. I had this big melon on my head, and my friend. I know. So all the guys came, they came over. Are you okay? Okay, we'll take you down to the dressing room. And all I could remember was my mom saying, do not leave your seat.
Don't leave your seat.
So I didn't go. I said, I'm fine. I could have met all the players. I could have got autographs. But my mom had the fear of death into me. But I'll never forget that story. That ball. And then I remember someone saying to me, oh, it's too bad he didn't get the ball because it went right on the other side. It hit my head and bounced right onto the other side of the arena. And I was halfway up the Reds. I think that still affected me today. Yeah. But they were great. I remember my dad used to take me out back, and we would stand outside the dressing room of the opposing team, and I remember having all the Broad Street Bullies, all the Sabres sign my pennant. How my dad must have gave a few bucks, and we weren't one of those families that had lots of money to throw around, but he must have did something to get me in that spot. I remember being like, not even a teen, and looking up and seeing the Broad Street Bullies coming out of the dressing room and signing that pennant was absolutely phenomenal.
Awesome.
Greatest sports. Yeah. What about you, Joe? You got any? What would be your biggest sporting thrill?
Well, I got a chance to go down to Vegas and see some big fights. That was fun. But probably my greatest sporting moment was in 1984. I was working in Lethbridge. I was working for the CFCN Lethbridge. And I just happened to be in Edmonton that weekend. That was where I was from. I was born and raised in Edmonton, and my family was there. So we were there for the weekend. And it was Game 5 of the Stanley Cup final between the Oilers and the Islanders in 84. And I called the Oilers PR guy and told him I was in town. I was looking see if I could get into the press box. And he gave me a press box, and it was all access, right? So I got in the press box, and it was Game 5, and the Oilers won, I think, 5-2. And eliminated the Oilers, won the Stanley Cup, won their first Stanley Cup. So I was there for that, watched that whole thing unfold, and then I got a chance to go into the dressing room afterwards and, be around all the guys drinking champagne out of the Stanley Cup. Me and a couple of guys, other media guys were pouring beer into the cans of beer into the drinking. And Randy Craig, the doctor, Oilers defenseman, he's, get that out of here. He poured it out and he poured champagne in it. So we drank that. But that was a lot of fun. It was, that was a really cool moment. Being an Oilers fan, growing up in Edmonton and being there for the very first one.
Nice.
So how old were you when you stopped fighting? Like competitively?
December 81.
Oh, okay.
So I was 24.
And then, do you still put the gloves on for fun or workout?
You know what? The gym that I go to.
That's a challenge coming here.
No, Tyson's already. I was trying to make a deal. No.
I go to it.
He would kill me.
They have a bag hanging there, so I go there once. They have a bag hanging, the one I go to, and they also have one on the south side of Oshawa too, where the Motor City Boxing Club is there. So, sometimes I'll pop in one of the gyms and hit the bag. But the one on the north side that I go to, yeah, they got a heavy bag, so I'll hit the heavy bag. But that's about all I do. I mean, I haven't been in the ring sparring. I used to do it back in the day when I first started at CTV, CFTO. I used to spar with all Donovan Boucher.
Yeah, I
Remo
saw some. I
DiCarlo.
saw the clips. Yeah.
And I used to spar with these guys. And one day I came to work and I had a shiner. And Pat Marsden, who was my boss at the time, said, "What happened to you?" And I said, "Well, I was sparring at the gym. I used to go down to the Newsboys Boxing Club." And he said, "You can't do that anymore."
I think it's great if the sports guy's got a black eye from boxing. I think that's fantastic. I would encourage it.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey,
Go down there and get
great.
a puck in the head, will you?
Exactly.
I think one of the reasons Pat hired me is because of my pugilistic career.
Yeah.
You know, he was a pretty feisty guy, and he's, you know, he'd probably like to have the backup.
Well, your shows,
We used to have.
it was always
Okay.
energetic. You were always energetic on the news. It was always like you just, yeah, it was full of fire. And I think that's what you need with sports.
It's a great job.
Yeah. Different if you're doing the weather.
yeah.
Well, we had on
It
last
was a
week.
lot of fun too.
Last week we had Joel Glant on, and Joel said to say,
Joel.
yeah, Joel
Yeah.
was here last week, and he said that he never forgets the time when that's his big sport thing when you took him around the office for the day and you showed him what was going on, and he said that was such a big part of his career, a big help and big boost. So that was kind of neat to hear that last week. So it was kind of a nice tie-in to this week.
Yeah, Joel. Yeah, I remember when he's first starting in the business and asking how he should go about doing what he's doing, and I think at the time he was working at Rogers, and maybe still in school. But yeah, so it was it's cool. He did well for himself as a and as a camera, one of the best cameramen around. Like he's good, yeah. And then
And it's funny because I've been also giving his son was my co-op student in construction. So it's like this big circle here, this big circle. Everyone's passing their knowledge around. But yeah, it's really, that's great stuff. Great stuff. So, so I guess right now for you being retired, I guess it's just the Tilley Billy show and taking it easy.
Yeah, well, we do the show once a week. And so now that we're just doing it on Zoom, I don't have to leave the house. My wife and I, we live here in Newcastle, and the port of Newcastle, and it's great, beautiful spot. We like to go walking around here, or we'll go up to Orono and walk in the Crown Lands, and it's beautiful. And that's where we've been doing a lot of that. And then, we spent trying to spend as much. Still physically distanced from our daughter and her husband,
Right.
And that's a lot of we get to at least spend time with them, go for walks and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a different time. But we like I said, I'm going to golf for the first time this year on Friday, see how that goes and see how I feel. And
Well, you should have some perfect weather for it. I think finally spring is coming.
Yeah, it'll be summer before you know it. Yeah.
Yep.
I used to play golf and I stopped. I think it was doing contracting and you get really busy. The problem was finding 4 hours that you can invest in walking around a golf course was so hard. If I was in sales, maybe I could justify it, but I just can't find
that way. It's a good way to do business. Take people golfing. A lot of people do.
Yeah, I hear you though. Yeah, if I was in sales more, but my job, I tend to get the work, so I don't need to. But yeah, maybe. Oh, I know what Joe's trying to do. You should take out your guests. You should take out your guests that come on the show out. Take them out and play golf. I know where he's going with this. That's. We should. I don't know. I think Tim plays golf. I don't know if Mark plays golf.
Yep.
But we do have a package for you. We're gonna set you up with some freshly ground coffee. We're gonna set you up with.
Nice.
We're gonna set you up with one of our shirts. There we go. It's gonna be backwards, I know, because my camera's flipped. We're gonna fix you up with a
But
shirt.
it looks good in the mirror,
Fix
right?
you up with some freshly roasted beans. So we'll get those delivered to you on Tuesday next week. We'll drop them off at your house. So, anyways, it's been awesome having you on here.
Yes,
It's
been great.
It's a privilege to have you, Joe. It's growing up, we were always watching the sports, and
Every night. Yep.
every night I wanted to find out how bad the Leafs lost. I'd just turn it on, and you'd be right there telling me.
Oh, yes. Memories.
Things were bad, and remember the Floyd Smith years, and
Yeah. Oh, geez, back in the day. Well, that was before. See, we came to Canada. We came to Canada in '73, so that's when I discovered hockey, which was, to me, was the greatest thing in the world. Hockey was everything. But anyways, we're gonna let you go because it's time for bed here. Hey.
Well, listen, thanks for having me, guys. It was an honor. It was good.
No, hey,
good
geez,
show.
the honor.
Thank you.
Thank
you so
it's
much.
all on us,
Great,
man.
yeah.
Thanks, Joe, and we'll see you on the Tilly Billy Show, folks. Don't forget to tune into the Tilly Billy Show Monday afternoons. I'll get some links out to you. And again, thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Remember,
Cheers.
be sweet. Keep 6 feet.
6 feet. Thanks, Joe.
Take care.